If you're a writer, you know that great dialogue it's so much more than just clever words. It has to feel real, right? But how do you actually capture that magic? Well, it turns out there's a secret science to how we talk, a kind of hidden grammar that runs our every conversation. So today, we're going to decode that science and give you a powerful new toolkit for your writing. Just take a look at this. It's super simple. Character A asks, "See you Friday?" And character B, well, they don't just say no. They do this thing where they go, "Well, I've got that thing." And we all get it, instantly. That little pause, that vague excuse, it's a polite no, and it is absolutely dripping with subtext. But how do we all just instinctively know what that means? It's because conversation isn't just chaos. There's this invisible system at play, a set of rules we all follow without even thinking about it. And once you, as a writer, learn to see that system, you can use it to create dialogue that feels unbelievably authentic. So let's dive into the first big idea. Conversation isn't just about swapping information, it's a series of social actions, and it has its own secret grammar. This right here is the big shift in thinking. It comes from a field called conversation analysis, and the core idea is this. Every single time your characters speak, they're trying to do something. They aren't just saying things. They are accusing or comforting, inviting or dodging. So the question for you as a writer isn't just, what does my character say? It's, what is my character trying to accomplish with these words? Let's lock this concept in. Dialogue as action. This is our very first secret code. Every single line is a social move designed to get something done. And that one simple principle, it transforms dialogue from just static text into a dynamic force that really pushes your story forward. Okay, so if talk is action, what makes it go? What keeps it moving? Let's take a look under the hood at the engine that drives it all. Turns out, it's a really simple but really powerful mechanism. And that engine is built on something called an adjacency pair. You can just think of it like a conversational call and response. These are basically sequences of two lines that just belong together, where the first part creates this powerful expectation for the second part. And what's so cool about this is just how fundamental these pairs are. A question just begs for an answer. An invitation demands you either accept or reject it. This creates this incredible forward momentum, kind of like a conversational gravity. The first speaker opens up a slot, and now the second speaker is socially obligated to fill it. And this is where it gets so useful for storytelling, because the greatest tension isn't when the second part shows up, it's when it doesn't. When a character asks a direct question and just gets silence, or a total change of subject, that's not just nothing happening. It's what researchers call a noticeable absence. That silence becomes an action all on its own. It's an act of defiance or evasion or pure shock that can honestly be way more powerful than any line you could ever write. All right, let's build on that idea of avoiding a direct response. Our next secret code helps us write really authentic disagreement and all that juicy subtext. It's all about how characters manage to say no without actually saying the word no. So the concept here is called preference organization. Now, preference doesn't mean what the character wants to do. It's about the design of the conversation itself. Talk is fundamentally built to prefer agreement, to prefer connection. So when a character has to disagree or reject something, what we call a dispreferred action, they have to do a lot more conversational work. The response gets way more complex. I mean, just look at this comparison. On the one hand, you have the on-the-nose version, "No, I can't." It's direct, sure, but it feels blunt, almost robotic. Now listen to the authentic version. "Well, I've got that thing to do. I probably won't be able to make it." It just instantly feels more real, more character-driven. And why? Because it's following the blueprint for a dispreferred response. It's delayed, it's explained, and it's softened. And here's a recipe for you as a writer. First, there's a delay, a little pause, a word like "well" or Second, an account. That's the excuse or the reason that comes before the actual refusal. And third, the refusal itself gets qualified. It gets weakened. Probably won't instead of a hard no. This structure is just a gold mine for revealing a character's reluctance or their politeness or their own internal conflict. All right, for our last secret code, let's talk about something that most writers try to edit out. All the messiness of real talk. You know, the stumbles, the overlaps, the self-corrections. These aren't flaws. They're actually one of your greatest tools. Because here's the thing. What looks like messiness is actually highly organized. Think about it, right? People don't just interrupt each other randomly, and they don't correct themselves by accident. These moments follow really clear patterns, and those patterns are incredibly revealing about the relationships between your characters and what's going on inside their heads. Okay, take overlapping speech. It's not always a hostile interruption, you know? Sometimes you have a cooperative overlap where one person just chimes in to finish another's thought. That shows they're perfectly in sync. It's a sign of connection. But then you have the competitive interruption, which cuts a speaker off to grab control of the conversation. That's a total power move. So how and when your characters talk over each other, that defines their relationship on the page.
And then there's this thing called repair. This is just a term for how we fix all the little glitches in conversation, like misspeaking or correcting ourselves. And when a character does a self-repair, when they correct their own speech, it is a fantastic way to show their mind at work. It really is the audible evidence of a mind at work.
A self-repair is it's like watching a character's internal editor fail for just a split second. When they start to say something and then they cut themselves off to rephrase it, like saying, I like what you've done with the place. You get this little glimpse of the thought they wanted to hide. You see that conflict between their gut impulse and their social calculation. It is pure character gold.
So let's put it all together now. How can you take all these secret codes and apply them to your own writing to really master the art of the unspoken?
Well, here it is, your secret decoder ring. Don't just have a character say no. Script the hesitation, the account, and that softened refusal. Weaponize that noticeable absence. Let silence create all the drama for you. And listen for those self-repairs, because they give you a real-time window right into a character's brain. And finally, consciously design your overlaps to show either a deep connection or a growing conflict.
Ultimately, the science of conversation, it's not about a bunch of rigid rules. It's about understanding the beautiful, complex system we all use to connect with each other, to fight with each other, and to reveal who we really are. And by learning this hidden grammar, you can write dialogue that doesn't just sound real, it feels true. So, now that you know the code, what secrets will your characters reveal?